1956, the river was black with them, 100,000. Last year, the big run, pinks, lots of pinks, mostly pinks, but no, lots of gold. Nice, beautiful steelhead fishing at one time. It was just an excellent river for steelhead.
And then on Christmas Day, and I got into this huge steelhead, and it took me about 45 minutes to land it. And it was an 18-pound, 2-ounce steelhead. That was the biggest fish that I've ever caught, biggest steelhead I've ever caught.
In about 1958, and both my dad and I cast our fly lines, and we both had a steelhead in about 20 minutes. Mine was slightly bigger than my dad's, much to his chagrin, but we're talking in the 18 to 20 pound range. And that's how this river used to be. This used to be one of the most premier steelhead rivers in the province, and it is well known that the species in the Tsolum was very large.
I came to the Tsolum River in February of 1965. You were allowed 40 steelhead a year. You had a punch card, and there were lots of steelhead around. And at one time, the Tsolum River had something like 3,500 steelhead. That's a lot of steelhead. In '83, they released 3.5 million fry into the Tsolum River. Only 9 pink salmon returned to the river. So they knew there was really something. And they began to monitor the river, and they found the high levels of copper.
Father Charles had got involved with the enhancement effort on this river, working with DFO in the late 60s. This was after the fish had been decimated by the logging and before they had discovered the acid mine drainage. So of course he was one of the people that first noticed that the river wasn't coming back, and was one of the sort of agitators to try and find out what was going on. I mean, when you put that kind of enhancement effort into something and nothing comes back, well then you need to look a little deeper, and that's what Charles did. Understanding that this river was devastated by a mining operation that was very short-lived, 1964 to 67, created what we now know as acid mine drainage, and basically devastated the Tsolum to the point where by 1993 there was virtually no returns at all. So when we go to work since 1998, since the Tsolum River Restoration Society's been busy, we have not seen a trend of improvement. We have seen some pretty good runs though, particularly this last fall. We saw the largest run since the early 50s, and that's well before the mine site came up. So we know that we lost the fish in this river, not from the mine site, but the mine site didn't let the fish return. The original loss of the stocks in the Tsolum was very similar right across the province where clear-cut logging had occurred. The traditional type, the historical type of logging that was done literally destroyed streams, destroyed coho habitat, trout habitat, changed the hydrology in a lot of these rivers, loosed gravels up that started moving through the system, became unstable. So in most cases, DFO went to work, the Department of Fisheries and Oceans, through their community involvement program, went to work throughout the province, assisting community groups build little hatcheries. By the mid-60s was a pretty good rebound. All over the province, stocks were starting to come back to about 50% of their historical levels through this incredible province-wide enhancement effort by the Department of Fisheries and Oceans. The Tsolum never came back. They put extra effort, they put extra people. They built an enhancement facility on Headquarters Creek. None of this helped. There was absolutely no increase in the stocks in the Tsolum. That continued on through into about the early 80s, when really everybody kind of shrugged their shoulders and said, well, what's going on with this river? A bit of research was done, and in 1985 it was found that the acid mine drainage was the problem. It was actually water-soluble toxic copper in the system that was it was actually killing the coho and trout and preventing the in-migrating fish from coming in. They would smell it and go back and go up the puntledge, so they just weren't even coming in.